everybody? Welcome to episode 5 of the Thunder Buddies podcast. And yes, that was clickbait you just clicked on. No, I'm just kidding. We really will talk about leaks because, believe it or not, it's back in the news again. I was shocked when I learned too. We're also going to talk about why my beloved segment in War Thunder is not beloved. And honestly, I would be lying to you if it wasn't. We're going to talk about Naval just in the smallest bit. And then we got to go over the ground BR changes. We talked about the air last episode. Well, now they are live, and we've got the ground ones for you. Want to cover those, help you. I would say they're major changes, but maybe more interesting than the air ones were. I think the air ones were easier for us to go, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Some of the ground ones were interesting, but we'll cover that. How you doing, Gale?
I'm doing good. I'm tired. Long week. And it's my birthday today. So, I don't know. Rev Deuce.
Yeah, if you're watching this,
he
comment happy birthday. It's obviously going to be after your birthday, but just comment happy birthday to Gale. He's turning 35. Let's jump right into it. Naval. Look, for those that don't know, I enjoy Naval and War Thunder, but let me be really clear as to why. It's because I love the ships. I love the battleships. I love the cruisers. I love the history of it. But even me, there was a point last year where they did a big Naval update that just kind of made me go, this is probably going to tank things. I guess kind of pun intended. And that was, they took essentially any skill required in War Thunder out, particularly in arcade, by making it click and shoot. So if you've never played War Thunder Naval, hop in, literally point to where you want to hit the opposing ship and click fire. There you go. You're now literally as good at Naval as I am.
Yep. There's no second guessing anything. You just point and shoot. Yeah. To be honest, I remember Naval coming out and I remember not caring because I'm not a guy who really cares about ships like Rev does. But I would say Gaijin 100% has dropped the ball on making it actually something that could be popular. And I think a perfect example of that is World of Warships. Look how popular that game is. It's not like insanely popular. War Thunder has way more player base, but like a whole game based around Naval and it's Wargaming's like flagship game right now, and like all the collaborations they have.
Clearly it works, right?
Clearly it works, so it's really not the topic that makes Naval unpopular. It's what could Gaijin do to make it better. And I think we both have a lot of opinions on what could make Naval better, because, you know, as people who make content of this game, I would like for every bit of this game to be as good as it could be. And I feel like Gaijin has really dropped Naval, especially with infantry coming out. It feels like they don't really want to make Naval good. So, what do you think? I mean,
to your point about Naval, and I know you're going to talk about this topic as well because we both agree on this one, but it's not even just that World of Warship exists to prove that Naval can work. It's the fact that we've had it in game work. And the immediate thing that I tend to always go to, and people who've played a long time like you have, is we had an April Fool's event that was submarine based that to this day, people who played it talk about being one of the best April Fool's events of all time.
Oh, yeah.
But that's literally a naval event.
I'm fairly certain they've done...
I think
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm fairly certain they've done at least 2 submarine events, too. I don't remember if they were both April Fools, but I definitely remember the Silent Thunder, I think was the name of the nuclear thunder one, or nuclear submarine one. But then I remember a few years ago, they added, I think there are World War II submarines in the files, because I remember a Fly Daily video a few years ago of him loading up a custom mission with one of the World War II submarines in a custom mission, showing it off and saying this means submarines are coming soon and this and that, but like nothing has ever come of it. But yeah, going back to what would make Naval good, I don't think submarines are the solution to making it more popular, but it definitely wouldn't hurt it. They just had to find a way to balance them, and I personally think there's a way to do it where you could toe the line between realistic and kind of, you know, semi-realistic to make sure that they're not, you know, incredibly slow and incredibly useless. But
yeah,
I've voiced my opinion to Gaijin before on one of their dev live streams about submarines, and I got kind of harassed by one of the community managers saying that I didn't know what I was talking about, and that his family worked on submarines and he knows how they would work, and I don't understand that submarines don't make sense in the game and they're too slow and they wouldn't do this and they wouldn't be useful and they wouldn't do that. And so I don't know. I think submarines would be cool. I think that's a good step in the right direction to probably make Naval at least more interesting, to bring people back to it. And then maybe like set up a road path. Start with submarines, you know, and then from the submarines, and as soon as you get people invested in playing Naval a little bit, then have other things that you might have an opinion on what they could do to make it better. But they could just kick off a whole roadmap of changes to like revitalize the game mode. I think there's, I mean, there's a lot of things, and if you want to throw one in there before I keep going.
I will say that, like, I understand that infantry is the focus, right? And you don't want to focus on two major features at one time because, as Mama used to say, whole ass one thing, don't half-ass two things, right? So I get that. And to your point, I remember there was an event. It was the Battle of the Atlantic event, I believe, probably 3 years ago was one of those submarine events.
Okay.
And then War Thunder Mobile, which we, as a group, almost rarely ever talk about. It feels like War Thunder Mobile is a whole different game, but War Thunder Mobile has, at least they did a couple years ago, they had Naval. They had the USS Tang in it and stuff like that. And even if Naval, you know, the answer to fixing Naval isn't just adding submarines, I do think it's clear there are people who want that, but the underlying answer has to be, it has to be a good, fun, engaging mechanic. And even as a guy who loved, like, I was very excited about the Yamato coming out. I remember talking to the CM and like, hey, I really want to show people this, and just go ahead and acknowledge the shill that is Rev Deuce. I had a lot of people invest in the Yamato and the Iowa because I was playing it. They wanted to play with me, so they also went after it. But I also won't sit here and lie to the viewers and say, yeah, Naval's banging gameplay. It's just as exciting as 10.0 tanks. It's not.
No.
You know, the thing to enjoy in Naval right now, and I enjoy it again because I like the collection. It's the most fun part of me is if you got a nice set of headphones, listening to those 16-inch guns of the Iowa go off is literally orgasmic.
Yeah.
But in terms of gameplay, no, Naval is not good as gameplay. And I want it to be, because the great thing about War Thunder is not only is it a game trying to be realistic, but it's a game that has everything.
Yeah.
But not all the things are equally as good.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, War Thunder Mobile, going back to that real quick, it does have naval and it does have submarines. So all the time, I think they're a permanent feature. But obviously,
y'all can't tell. We don't really do the.
So
mobile.
yeah, so mobile is very arcadey though, and that's how I was told by the community manager was the reason that they work in mobile but they wouldn't work in the full client version is just because they're arcadified in mobile to make them work. And I'm like, well, you take creative liberties with other things in this game all the time, so why can't you take some creative liberties to make them balanced? You know, everything in this game.
I want to scream Terminator right now.
Like everything in this game, they always use the excuse of balance this, balance that. You know, but it's like sometimes you pick and choose.
That is an important discussion.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Naval. And again, I say this to everybody. If you are out there and you enjoy Naval with me, I'm not downing you or me.
Yeah.
But if you're just being objectively honest, if you're coming out there with like your battleships like I am, how many people are in your match? There's usually about 6 of us, counting both sides, and the rest are bots.
Yeah.
That's not fun. And that's the byproduct of Naval simply being an underutilized and an underappreciated form by Gaijin. Not by us. It's not players' fault. Players will play what is fun.
Yep.
I fully believe that. Take a look at all these events. People might moan and groan. They might even come into our streams and stuff. I'm like, man, I really hate this. But guess what? They're going to grind for that MiG-17 because secretly they really want it. But they will not secretly grind for the naval stuff. They'll just, nope, not touching it. Yeah. That's a problem on the game, not on the players.
Yeah. There's always 3 major points that I always bring up when my community asks me about what Naval really needs. And I always think the first one is maps. I think the second one, I think they should work on adding more variety in ship types like submarines. It doesn't have to be just submarines. We don't have to rely on submarines completely. But I think maps, ship types, and then I think just a general rework of how the multi-branch works in Naval. So like how planes are pretty much useless in Naval. And it's because the automatic gunners and stuff like that. So I'll start with that one. I think the automatic gunners are incredibly overpowered, and I think it really takes the fun out of it, because a lot of people, if you play Naval and you've never played Naval, well, you still want to bring in your favorite planes that you've worked for in the past. And if you bring your favorite planes in, you're just going to get absolutely smoked by some guy who's he doesn't even know you're there. He's not even paying attention to you. He's just going to nail you for his AI gunners that had, you just randomly gets a kill. Everyone's played Naval, you're just sitting there shooting a ship, and all of a sudden, aircraft kill. Well, that's great, Yeah. And it's like,
I mean, even if you've never played Naval, it's hilarious because if you play ground, for example, and you have to deal with CAS, especially early and mid tier, you've got very few defenses against them. But in naval, I'm trying to remember, is it a 4.0 coastal ship that has literal like heat-seeking missiles?
Yeah, the Douglas. It doesn't have heat
Douglas.
seekers, but yeah, it's got like mouse
but
guided.
it has missiles that can take out air,
Yeah.
which is absolutely crazy because again, if you've never played naval, there's just simply a toggle. Would you like your AA guns to fire at small ships, planes, or both?
Yeah.
And that's all you do.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just toggle one or the other, and everybody
Yeah.
just immediately goes air.
Yeah.
That way, all your AA takes out anything within like a mile.
Yeah, and I think a good balance for that would be your small destroyers or your coastal ships that are focused on anti-air defense, like, fleet anti-air defense. I think those players should be able to spot air targets like it is for ARB. It puts a spot over their head, and then remove people's efficiency of their AI anti-air. So, like, you as a player be like, hey, air alert, there's a plane up. Your friendly just spotted that plane. You need to switch over to your anti-air and handle that. And I think that would make planes a little bit more useful. You could make planes a little bit more expensive and not just destroying everybody, but I think that would be a good balance to the planes.
Yeah, I would agree that there's some good stuff there. I mean, I would also throw in that, again, if you're getting into how naval works, one reason I believe that naval fails compared to air, y'all have heard me talk about air RB. Well, let me tell you why naval's worse. Because at least in air RB, plane types matter, right? You don't play every jet the same. The sad truth of War Thunder Naval is you basically play everything the same, whether it's a destroyer or a battleship. It's basically all point click.
Yep.
And I think that there should be more depth in terms of screening. Like if you're in a destroyer, your ability to screen for your bigger ships should matter and pay off. Like if you successfully screen with a smoke screen or something, you should get silver lions for that. There needs to be more depth in it. There's also the low-hanging fruit of we have aircraft carriers in game, but we can't play aircraft carriers in the game.
Yeah.
Right? You can go land on them though in Air RB if you want to.
Yeah, and it's weird that we don't have aircraft carriers, even static ones in naval. Isn't that odd? Like, why do we not get just like if you are a naval plane in naval, you have to go land on some far away like beach airfield, or you have to water land. Why do we not have carriers?
I think everybody just J's out.
Yeah, like if you don't get shot down, you're gonna just leave because like you're gonna fly 15 miles away. Like. It's I don't know why there's not even I don't need to control a carrier, but it'd be kind of cool just to have carriers. Add some variety, like and then
even if there was, and I know we're so hesitant to ever say bots are okay, but even if there was AI bot carriers that launched a couple of planes to add a little bit of depth to the
cool,
fight.
Yeah, I mean, and they could have a game mode, because I think another main issue, and that really ties into what I'm saying, they need better maps, because I think the maps are really what's holding back naval. I mean, and if you look at World of Warships, they have a lot of variety. They have a lot of islands you can hide behind. They have a lot of this. They have a lot of that. War Thunder, most of the time, at coastal, it's kind of like that. The coastal maps are pretty cool. But when you get to the higher tier naval, you pretty much spawn on the open ocean, 15 miles away from the other team, and you just start shooting each other. And the issue is, there's a giant circle in the middle of the teams that somebody might sneak their way into and cap before they die, or no one touches it at all. And so the game mode is just pretty much team deathmatch. So they could even like bring in a carrier fleet, an AI carrier fleet behind both spawn points that are slowly progressing into the map, and you win if you sink their whole carrier fleet. It's kind of like a battle station specific kind of thing. That'd be kind of cool. And those AI carriers, as long the benefit of sinking the other carriers, they would be launching just AI wings of torpedo bombers that would seek you out and stuff like that. That would be really cool. It'd be a lot of cool variety, and I think a lot of that just map and game mode changes would make it way more interesting. And and then submarines on top of that, they could benefit from cooler maps.
Maybe the issue is War Thunder as a community hasn't leaked the secret details of all these ships, because leading into our next topic is a topic that many of you who have followed War Thunder for any amount of time have had some version of come across your desk. Leaks, as in military documents as it pertains to War Thunder. Now, this topic is a little bit different, and to be just straight up with y'all, we're not taking sides on it. We're certainly not using this as any type of clickbait, but I do think it's worth y'all knowing, because we learned about it, we read about it, we find it interesting. It's that now what's slightly different is, instead of it being player-led leaks, we find out potentially, allegedly, to be very clear for any CMs or Gaijin listening, allegedly, leaks from within the department itself saying, we're definitely using this type of content in these documents. So let's Where do you see when you think about this, and how big of a deal do you even think it is?
So, for the people who haven't seen it, it just came out yesterday. A 13-year-old veteran at Gaijin, a community manager, came out and said, "Here's information that Gaijin has used classified documents, supposedly, knowingly that they're illegal, to develop the game, and a whole bunch of other things. Like he also allegedly saying that Gaijin has motorcycle. Gaijin, what's happening today?
Wow.
Allegedly, Gaijin's anti-cheat is also allegedly taking more information than it should from its users, and that Gaijin is, well, that's maybe not allegedly, Gaijin is also using their own bias to artificially nerf or buff certain vehicles. So there's a lot of...
And that last one, let's just go ahead and be honest. We already know that happens, and I'll even go a step further and break y'all's hearts. Look, if they were based in America, they do the same thing from the opposite end of the spectrum.
Sure.
Or if they were based in the UK. So that one, even though it annoys me as a player, doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I do see why the other aspects. And just to throw this out there, the reason we're saying allegedly and stuff is all these screenshots are coming from Discords, ending up on Reddits. We don't actually have the devs and CMs here saying yes or no.
Yeah.
But it is still stuff where we've seen this happen and we know there's some credibility to it.
Yeah, and I can't really speak on anti-cheats, taking more information allegedly than they're supposed to, or stealing your documents, or selling your information. Like, I don't know. I don't have anything to add about that, because I don't think either one of us know how that really works, and we're not developers. And once again, it's one disgruntled ex-Gaijin employee posting this on Discord and on Reddit. My God. Apparently all the rednecks are out today. I don't know if the viewers can hear that or not, but I think it's one disgruntled ex-employee who probably didn't get his way and now is on Discord causing a hoot and holler to try to get back at Gaijin, or they might have some say to it. And
both could be true, to be honest.
Both could be true, yeah.
Both of those things could be true.
Both could be true, and I think a lot of it would go into the morality of this individual. If you only come out and say something after you don't work there anymore, or after you got fired, why did you not say something before, sort of thing? Like if it's that big of a moral issue,
Those ethics and morality debates are always, like, it's easy for people to have them. And again, we're not telling y'all how to feel about it in either way. In fact, we would encourage you, go read for yourself. You come to your own conclusions.
It is interesting.
But I also say, like, for example, let's just say you're a man with 3 kids, like this guy. You're willing to bend some of those rules a lot more when you're earning a paycheck. And then suddenly when your paycheck no longer is relying on it, well, we're back to being ethically immoral, right? So, yeah, we don't truly know. I will say this aspect of it. If this is happening, it does deserve to be called out and say, hey, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Right? I know it seems so obvious, but from the base level, if it is happening, Gaijin, stop it. You know better. We know you know better because you have verbally said we know better.
Yeah.
So to be clear, I'm not trash talking. They've come out with statements before saying, we don't do this because it's illegal. We know this isn't something we should do, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And whether that was actually true or just PR stuff, doesn't matter. I'll say it. Don't do that. That's not right.
Yeah.
And then there's the other aspect of, I guess, I get why, because, if y'all are out there and y'all want to pretend like War Thunder isn't a bunch of dramatic kids sometimes, we all are. Let's be honest with ourselves. How much of this actually matters? And I guess that comes down to individuals who care. Who cares more or less?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'll tell you personally, while I always want the company to do the right thing, at the same time, I listen to what I just said. The company to do the right thing. Not many companies I trust to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So as long as it's not negatively affecting players, which gets back to the anti-cheat thing, which I would care more about if I knew more.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
The fact that we don't
know I would
anything.
care about a lot more than leaked, top secret documents being used to design the Typhoon.
Yeah.
I care a hell of a lot more of, is it true that the anti-cheats are doing things?
Yeah, the anti-cheat one's kind of wild, because that has, potential legal implications. But, and also, who knows how anti-cheats work? If you have an AI that's searching through your PC to make sure you don't have cheating software running, they might accidentally hit something they're not supposed to, and then that all of a sudden this developer says, oh, we have evidence that, it got a hold of this person's text document or something. Well, what maybe, and that wasn't the idea, and maybe they've already shut it down, you know. But yeah, that's a good discussion. As in terms of classified documents, that's a tale as old as time on War Thunder. You know,
Yeah.
you
The
have
only thing that makes it unique this time is that it's not coming from our side
oh
of the
yeah.
table.
It is interesting, and if you guys want to know more about it, we're not going to throw screenshots up of these allegations, obviously, but you can go look it up. It's all over Reddit right now. But there are some interesting screenshots from actual verified Gaijin employees in like their I don't even know what these apps are, Telegram or something, like.
I think one of them was a Slack message,
Yeah,
I think.
saying
and
that,
again,
saying
just to throw out the allegedly, maybe it's Photoshop.
yeah, it could
I
be,
don't
it could
know.
all be fake too,
But it is an actual person. Like,
Yeah.
we know that that's an actual person.
and it could also be a joke, like who knows how, what their nature of their business or their employee Telegram, Slack, whatever, how the mood is in their community. I mean, they could be joking, and this guy took it out of context. But there are some interesting screenshots where it's developers saying, classified document, whatever about this, about that. We can't use that ... officially or something, so like,
Yeah.
And then another thing is, what's the nature of a classified document? And I think a lot of the time it isn't actually a classified document that makes its way to Gaijin. Sometimes it's like a freedom of information thing, where as a US citizen you can get information to that document, but it's illegal for other countries to have a hold of it. So sending it to a company like Gaijin makes it a legal classified document breach, whereas it's kind of like any American citizen could maybe get their hands on this, and it goes for other countries too. And a lot of those screenshots are the Gaijin saying that, oh, thanks for this document, don't do this, we can't have access to this yet or officially or something. So it's like, we're at the point of War Thunder where they're developing vehicles that are brand new. The J-15T that just came out, I think it first flew like less than 10 years ago, like just a few years ago, sort of thing. And it's like, how do you even put that into the game with how you have to have some sort of insight, or everyone's going to say it's just BS. Like, it's all fictional.
Yeah.
It's like Ace
it
Combat.
Gets into like how much is conjecture?
Yeah, it's like, what is,
how much of the F-15s are real versus
so
making things up. And this isn't the only game that has that, to be clear, because DCS, there are a lot of YouTubers like Grim Reapers. I'm just shouting them out because I've watched their content and it's fun, where they will have hyper realistic information that you question, is this real? How did you know?
Yeah.
But it's not, my point is, it's not just a War Thunder thing. And all I really come to is, all I can say again is, we're just two people with a podcast and people who play the game. Number one, on the anti-cheat stuff, I hope that's not true. And number two, on the other stuff, look, if you know something's not right, don't do it.
For sure, yeah.
You and I have very little power to actually enforce that as a rule either. So
yeah. And if this discussion, evolves between this week and next week, and the comment section's talking about it, and more stuff comes out about it, we'll touch on it again. I would like to see more verified information about the anti-cheat.
That's my thing. I need actual real stuff that we know is true.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be also very tough to get. So I'm curious to see where it goes. In terms of real stuff we do have for you, though, updates to the BR this week, focusing on the ground changes. These are actual things we can give you that are facts that we know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So
like the Chaffee getting moved up
to
rank 3.
If you guys weren't here last week, we talked about the preliminary BR changes they proposed last week. They did amend it slightly this weekend, and then they went into effect today. So, like Rev said, there's nothing that's really crazy. Like, I'll go through and say which ones they went back on, and then you can touch on the first things that you like about it. They were going to down tier the F8U. They scrapped that idea. They were going to up tier the Spitfire, the Griffin Spit. They scrapped that idea. And they were going to get rid of the Heat FS on the IKV 103 and down tier it. They scrapped that whole idea. So they're not touching those at all now. I think those are good changes. I don't think, I think those were a little harsh changes to start with. But most of the new stuff is new ground things that went into effect today. So I don't think there's anything super, super crazy. I think a lot of the big stuff we touched last week, but...
And just on the air side, just to throw it out there, because I know there are players out there who enjoy it, the AH-64, all of them, I'm pretty sure all of them are all getting a slight change to the ATGMs. Now, to be clear for everybody watching, neither me nor Gale really touched the Apaches or any helicopters for that matter. So I can't tell you how good of a change this is, but they're going from the 114B ATGMs to the 114Ks. That could be the difference between an AIM-9L and I don't know because I don't play these.
I have no idea what that is.
But if you do know, edify us.
Maybe you're
Tell
excited
us how good
for
of a
it.
change it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
but other than that, the only other one I noticed in the air side that were changing were several of the MiG-29s, specifically in air sim, south to Sloth. I don't know how you managed to make this happen, but the MiG-29s are going down to 12.3, but only in air sim.
Interesting. That's kind of an interesting change. To be honest, they could probably be 12.3 in ARB, to be honest. I mean, you have,
Honestly,
you
I
already
agree
have
with that.
F-18s that are 12.3 that have more missiles, but you know, who am I to say? Gaijin is all knowing. Apparently, they use those documents they got recently to decide these BR changes. So, in terms of the ground, I would say most ground guys probably going to be excited because they're moving the term 3 up to 8.7 from 8.3. The term 3 is pretty wild. I think probably people are excited for that. Some T-34s are going up a little bit. And then some Shermans, the M4A1s, not even the 76 Shermans, just the normal M4A1 is going up.
Like the 4.0
which is odd.
Like, well,
it's 3.3 going to 3.7. Yeah, it's odd. And I'm not sure why they would do that. And then the kicker for me of all of these is that they're moving every single M24 Chaffee up to 4.0 and realistic. And I don't know why they hate my Chaffee. I love the Chaffee. And
well, can I tell you one positive about this?
Okay, yeah.
If you are a Chaffee player, moving it to from rank 2 to rank 3 now made that easier for you to use it for dailies.
That's true. Yeah,
it is a very, very popular tank.
You can use it for challenges now or events now because it's going to be rank 3. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, just moving it to 4.0, I guess, you know, as Rev said before the podcast that you know, most people that were using the Chaffee probably were up tiering it anyways because it's just a good light tank with a decent cannon. Yeah. So moving up to 4.0,
it's kind of like the baby Tiger. It's one of those things you'll see people running that up at like 11.0. They'll have one in their loadout.
Yeah, so it probably is not going to bother anything, but it is kind of odd that they're bullying the Chaffee. And they're moving up the French premium M24 with the AMX-13 turret on it is also going to 4.0. So if you guys are a Chaffee enjoyer,
every M24 in the game.
Any
sure.
M24 is going up. Even the premium weird hybrid ones are all going up. So if you're a Chaffee enjoyer, you're probably crying right now. Poor Chaffies are getting bullied for whatever reason.
Okay, that's a little dramatic because it's only going up by 0.3. How many of you were running Chaffies and not getting into 4.0 matches anyway?
Yeah, I mean, that's fair, but
a little dramatic.
It depends. I mean, it's been 3.7 for such a long time, you know, like
it has.
Same with
look, I'll tell you the one out of all this that changes. I know we haven't listed all of them, but truthfully, they're kind of in chunks. Like there's a bunch of Shermans, a bunch of Chaffies, a few changes to the Panzer IVs, which are getting the same love, by the way. A lot of the Panzer IVs are going from 3.7 to 4 and realistic. Yeah. The one that kind of gets me a little bit is the Su-122, when the early Russian kind of feels like a heat-seeking missile every time it shoots, but it's having its reload go from 18 seconds down to 16 seconds.
Interesting.
It might not seem like a lot, y'all, but that's making a very good thing even better.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad at all. I mean, it's a 122. It's 122 millimeter at 2.7 now, going up to 3.0. But yeah, I mean, the Cromwells too. They're also moving the Cromwells up, and they're moving. Yeah. So they moved up all the Chaffies, but they didn't move up the Pumas in realistic, but they did
move. If you look across the board, they kind of moved almost everything up that's getting away from the interwar period. Because if you look, it's the Cromwells, it's the M3 Lees, the Grants and whatever. Yeah. Those are going up. It's the Panzer IVs, the Panzer IIIs. It's basically everything that came out like 1939, 1940 in real life is getting moved up.
Wonder why.
Just a little bit, though.
It's interesting. It's a weird wave to move up a huge chunk of
Well, here's the question for you, Gale. Could this be kind of like a behind the scenes of they're making way for more of that World War I type of stuff to come in, meaning they need those like BR1s and BR2s to have distance between the Grants and the Lees and the Panzers.
Yeah, they could just be moving up all tier 2s slowly at a time so they could push back reserve. I think a lot of people would love that. I mean, we had the World War One event last year for April Fools, and they added all these World War One vehicles, but they're all like 1.0. Even at 1.0, most of them, they're just kind of a meme to use. And they gave us the World War Two, or the World War One bombers, but they never gave us like the Camel and whatever the German biplane is. They never gave us those, and it was like, why? Come on, just push back reserve. Push everything up 1BR, push reserve back, add some World War One stuff. That'd be kind of cool. I think it would kind of bring some people back. But it was weird because because Aces of Thunder came out this year, which is their spin-off of, it's kind of like an IL-2 DCS version of War Thunder. It's all sim, interactable cockpits, high fidelity stuff. It has World War One planes in it, so it's like they spent this development time developing these World War One vehicles. How about we just throw them in War Thunder? So yeah, maybe the BR changes are making some wiggle room. Yeah, like you said.
And just to give everybody a greater grasp of what we're talking about, not only will this list be in the pinned comment if you want to check it out, but just shouting out basically every M24 going up to around 4.0. Almost every Panzer IV, the Swedish one, the Italian one, the Germans ones, going up to 4.0. The early T-34s, the 1941 and the prototype, going up to 3.7 from 3.3. The Cromwells, 3 of the SDKs, all moving up. Couple of the Shermans, Panzer IIIs, M3 Lees, the Grants, the M5s, the M3 A3s, all of those, all the Crusaders. It's just weird to see. It's basically 24 things between 3.3 and 3.7 that are all getting moved up. And that's basically all that's changing in ground for the most part.
It is strange. Yeah, it's almost like they moved up every country's 3.3 to 3.7 or 3.7 to 4.0. So it is kind of odd. I think there might be something more to it. Like, these BRs have been the same way they've been a long time. It's not like these vehicles are performing outstandingly well compared to their counterparts, because they're moving the counterpart ups too. So like, it's something else going on. I think that's a good discussion. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear that, they're doing something to restructure these earlier tier, or they're adding more vehicles or something. I'm not sure, but I think
I'll admit I'm really excited about the idea. I love the idea of exploring the reserve level and expanding on that, especially if it meant adding in World War One. I think that sounds great. And also, to your point that you brought up, what was it? The second podcast when we were talking about infantry. What if this is just simply making more room for World War One infantry to have more of those vehicles?
That'd be interesting, and that goes back to the whole infantry discussion of when infantry comes to War Thunder, it's only supposed to be like post World War II to modern times, and everything World War II is supposed to stay in enlisted, but I don't imagine they're gonna keep enlisted going. I mean, so maybe they're trying to make room to bring enlisted, porting enlisted over and giving you your progress and your premiums that you bought on enlisted on War Thunder, porting over maps or remaking the maps. I don't know, but yeah, this could be a little bit of a sign that they might be going that way, or we could be reading into it too much. But I would love that. I would love some pre-war exploration.
I'll be honest, Gale, it's tough to not read into it because, again, of the list, and y'all feel free to check out the list for yourself. We give it to you so y'all can see. We're talking about 90% of all the ground changes are what we're rattling off. It's all things that were at 4.0 or 3.3, something in there, all being moved. That's all it is. There is a couple of exceptions, like the BMTs, which we had already talked about.
Yeah.
Right. And there is the term 3 is going up in realism by a little bit. But other than that, it's all the things we're talking about.
Yeah, it's not a lot of.
There's just so many of them for me to not think it's got to lead to something.
Yeah, and unless the last couple BR changes internally, Gaijin planned on doing mid-tier, high-tier changes, and then this time around they purely focused on what game-breaking things needed changed, like the Terminator, which needed changed, and then maybe they're just focusing on getting low-tier changes made. Who knows? I don't know how Gaijin operates internally. They could just be doing it in batches. Or it's a sign that we might have something new coming, which would be a huge change because Gaijin has been pushing top tier and top tier and top tier the last, seems like 2 years. I mean, if they came out...
Ever since I started streaming it full time,
If they came out with hey, next major update, World War One, that would be huge. That'd be massive. No one would see that coming.
I would flip it a positive way too. Dude. Like,
I would love that.
That's exciting to me.
Especially now that they're practicing, or they're exploring having a larger player count on their servers, Can you imagine if they brought in
Dude,
World War
imagine
One
64 versus 64 World War One.
biplanes?
Come on.
Oh my God, like a giant fur ball at 60 miles per hour
dude.
whipping around, and everyone's just
Little
tanking
fur ball,
around.
and then
Yeah.
you've got like 3 or 4 people that have zeppelins up and stuff.
Yeah.
Man, that's so fun.
It'd
to
be
me.
cool.
Like,
yeah.
I know that was not the best April Fool's event, but I did really love the theme of the World War one last year.
I think
it wasn't a great April Fool's event, but a really fun event.
I think the World War One ground was a letdown. But when you were in a Zeppelin,
the air was
so much fun because you're flying around in canvas-stretched, wood-framed biplanes with the heaviest counterweight called your engine on the front of your plane ever, and you're tanking a single 30 cal that's ripping through your canvas, but you're also flipping around at crazy like high G's. Yeah,
because you're only going like 100 miles an hour, so your turn rates are insane.
Yeah,
right. It was so much fun.
I would love that.
for them to explore that. That'd be so great.
Up the player count, bring in World War One, or just up the player count in reserve, and then bring in some World War One stuff. Yeah, that would be so cool. I would love that. That'd be like a huge, like curveball that no one would have expected, but would be so cool. Is it gonna happen? Probably not. I've been told that Gaijin is working overtime. One of the reasons that my decal didn't come out for so long was because they had stopped all non-essential things to help bring all their art team over and push out the infantry in a timely manner. So, probably not going to happen, but we can dream, and I think that'd be a nice change. Everyone's pushing top tier. Everyone's thinking about 5th gen stealth fighters. Everyone's thinking about the new this, the new that, and ground. But like, yeah, if they pushed it back reserve, and then for 2 months everyone's just playing reserve biplanes and zeppelins and flak and spotlights at night maps or something, shining up between all the biplanes, that'd be so cool. I'd be so down for that.
Just to be the Debbie Downer for all you high tier ARB players and stuff. The truth is, and this is just again numbers. More people play low tier stuff than high tier anyway. Not that I'm saying high tier people shouldn't get their jets and their tanks. I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with this idea either, right?
Yeah.
They have been pushing high tier for so long, and I'm not saying that those players don't deserve content. I believe every player deserves content, which is why I'm saying this would be great. Because when is the last time you had a real, true, fun update to the low end of the game?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
A long time, yeah. And one more thing I want to touch on, another bit of news. I forgot about this, so this is a curveball for Rev. But they did post on the War Thunder devs did post on their Russian Telegram, and so the translation, they talked about 3 things. One was, we've talked about this on stream multiple times, but the SU-30 premiums, the AMV and the MKK SU-30s, everyone calls them overpowered. They're not in this BR change for whatever reason. They're not up tiering them. They touched on it on their Telegram, and they said at the moment they are performing similarly to the other aircraft of their battle rating and do not require an increase. However, we will continue to monitor them and make adjustments. I think that's BS if you ask me as a guy who plays top tier air a lot. I think just because they're not performing well is because every Timmy that's level 4 bought it for Christmas. And so they're not doing that well, but they're incredibly good. So I think that's a little wild. I think they should probably be moved to 13.7, but that's what Gaijin said about that. And the BMPTs, they touched on the BMPTs. They said there have been suggestions to raise the battle ratings of the BMPT series, the Terminators, by 2 tiers at once instead of just 1. But the available data indicates that there's an increase of 1 tier may be sufficient, especially considering they will begin to face vehicles with a maximum BR of 12.7 now. Nevertheless, we will continue to monitor their effectiveness and make further changes. So, obviously, the player base has been saying since the Terminator came out that it should probably be 12.0, and I think, God, it was gonna be like 10.3 when it first came out or something like that, and now it's 11.7.
You're gonna get me on a tangent.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say what I said last podcast. It should be BR 17. Yes. Put it all the way. So, make a BR and set it. That's where that thing should be, unless it gets nerfed. And I know we don't like nerfing things, but the BMPT can destroy everything up to 13.
Yeah. There is a cool meta right now with the Ariete tanks and the whatever the British equivalent is, I think. I think it's British. No, the French and Italian tanks. They got a new heat round. A new HE shell this last update. So there is a current thing where you're fighting the premium BMPT where you can hit it right in the front and it'll one-shot it with the HE round that they added.
Just overpressure.
So you just overpressure it, but it doesn't work for the tech tree one. So that people are finding ways to counter them, but it shouldn't be that hard to think of a way to counter them. So that Gaijin is pretty much saying, hey, we heard what you said. Get bent. We're going to move it up 0.3 at a time and keep paying our rent with it, essentially. Same with the SU-30s. So all the premium vehicles that everyone has been saying is aggressively monetizing the game and they're pay to win and stuff. Gaijin's pretty much telling you, hey, we know what's best for you, like a politician. We've heard your complaints. We know what you need. We know what's best for you, kind of thing.
I just want to say real quick while we're going over that before we wrap up today. One thing Gale and I talked about, and he hit really heavy, man. What I don't want on my podcast is to talk about Russian bias. I don't want to talk about it. And yet here he is. Well, they just said, screw you, Russian bias.
And then one final thing from this Telegram message from the developers for all the low-tier British players out there. Gaijin said that they've seen people's feedback when they've been requesting American M61 APHE to British tanks. They're considering the possibility of doing so. However, introducing it now could require an even greater increase to battle ratings to some of those British vehicles. Therefore, we will decide on issuing it to specific machines after these battle rating changes are released and after collecting data. So, if you are a British player out there, and every person who ever plays Britain, the main complaint is you get stuck with that damn APDS or APCR solid shot.
You get solid shell.
You just get solid shell.
But I will say there's a trade-off there, because one thing that the British tanks do have, remember, this is my primary area of the game. So I love that area of the game. One thing that they do have, I agree, the shells they get suck, but they also have some of the best armor and speed at that BR by a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and they get low end.
Cromwell, the Churchill, etc. Those things, I mean, to be cliche, are tanks, but tanks in like the truest word. It is, even with those good American shells, can be very difficult to beat them. Even the Russians can have trouble pinning if you don't know where you're shooting. So what I'm saying is, if you're the average player out there and you don't spend time going, hey, does this round penetrate at this spot? You're probably struggling against a lot of those.
Yeah.
So I do agree with them on that third point. If you gave them great shells, that might instantly make that the best early ground tree in the game, and that might be a little overpowered.
But I think a lot of new players have struggle when it goes to play Britain because that's solid shot. So there is a possibility that in the next few months, if you are a British main or you're thinking playing Britain, keep an eye out for the dev updates. We'll talk about it, obviously, on the podcast if they do announce it. But there is a possibility that they're going to port over America's M61, which America's M61 shell is phenomenal in the low tier. There's a chance it's going to be coming to some of the low tier British vehicles too. So that is pretty cool.
It's a very interesting thought. And I would love to actually, again, the SU-30 stuff, I'll roll my eyes on because, hey, guess what? I have opinions. But on that one, I actually really like that as an idea. And I do agree with them that the best way to do that would be rolled out like 1 or 2 tanks at a time, test it, and see what that looks like. But I love the idea.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. So, yeah, I've completely forgot about that. So that goes right along with the BR changes. So not necessarily relevant to the BR changes we're seeing now, but in the future, that's Gaijin's mindset. So that's a little bit of a peek into their psyche when it comes to their BR changes and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean...
So how do we follow you on Telegram?
I just don't ask how I'm getting this information. I've got feelers out there.
Oh, man. Hey, look, we just want to say thank y'all for... We just had the most watched episode of the podcast on YouTube, and that's really humbling. Thank y'all. We hit over 150 subscribers on YouTube. That is awesome. And now we just need y'all to get about 5,000 of your friends do the same thing. So we're glad you're enjoying it. We hope we continue to make it better. Topics that y'all want to hear, we want to talk about them. And even if y'all disagree with us, we are both individuals who welcome the disagreement.
And hopefully discussing these open communications in Gaijin's internal communication apps doesn't make us just get kicked straight out of the program now. That would be great.
We need to go ahead and request our May stipend before the podcast.
And they just gave me my decal in game today too. So man, it's a great week to get kicked off the Gaijin partnership. It's just
everybody go to twitch.tv/Nightingale. Get this man's code. Get the decal while it lasts.
It's limited time because we're done.
Limited edition, baby. Yeah. Oh man.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Like always, if you guys have any comments about anything that we said, if we misspoke, please correct us. But if you guys have any feedback, especially about the whole classified document leaks from Gaijin, if you have anything you want to add to that, feel free to put it down in the comment section below and drop that like and that comment. That helps a lot. And if you guys want any more information in real time between episodes, me and Rev are always live every week on Twitch. Our links are going to be down below. But once again, we appreciate it. We've now crossed over to the second month of podcasts. So thank you guys so much. And for that last episode, like Rev said, that was an awesome episode. Thank you guys all for listening. And yeah, that's all I have to say. So
also check out his t-shirt, everybody. Who wants one? Look at it. We got Thunder Buddy t-shirts.
Might be the first. I don't know. I've not been monitoring.
It is the first.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else. I don't have one yet.
It's crispy.
I'm wearing my merch. You've got the nice Thunder Buddy.
It sits right in your goodie bits too. So when it's nice and fresh, that screen printing just really rubs real nice. Okay.
Well, it doesn't matter if we get monetized, people, because Gale's going to get us demonetized. We'll steal the next one.